Otherwise, let the left hip lift. Repeat. Arm comes inside. We twist left. On this one, you may find that you can drop the right shoulder a little deeper. So move into the place that works for you right now. And always keep in mind, it'll always be different at different times of day. It'll be different at the same time of day, just because of the different variables we have. That's why it's so important that we work with each breath before we make a move. All right, come on back up. And last one like this, the left leg comes into the Janu Sirsasana position, and we take the same thing. It's revolved head to knee, coming down, playing with the shape that's best for you at this given moment. So we're trying to rotate the torso to the left. On this one, the hip does not lift up, unlike the other one. Finding a place to breathe always in this shape. So if you can't breathe, that means you've probably gone too far. Let's all make our way back up. So take a little assessment of where you are. It should be right leg long, left knee bent. And if that is the case, you ought to be able to just roll off to your left side in a kneeling position on the left knee, right leg extended. 3 little chin push-ups. So we squeeze the elbows in, lower chin and chest, leg lifts, and come back. Again, lower chin and chest, come back, and we'll take one more. Lower chin and chest, and then come back. From here, let's needle the left arm underneath, rolling onto left shoulder. So we're going to play a little bit here. You'll want to be mindful. If you just want to get into a twist and hang out, then roll to your heart's desire. Go as far as you want. You can play with lifting the right arm. If you're going to move into the balancing pose, I suggest not rolling that much. You still want to get a twist, but if you over roll, it can be a little precarious in that you'll just tumble down. I don't think anything bad would happen because you're already on the floor, but we just want to pay attention to the neck. So I'll talk about that in a second. If you're having trouble rolling here, roll onto a block on the left shoulder and just hang out here. Okay? So finding the place that's good for you, I'm going to walk through the balancing poses. Right leg is extended, left leg's kneeling, rolling left shoulder under. So finding a place where you can balance and play with the idea of maybe lifting the right leg. If it's easy and you'd like to add the right arm, go for it. And then if that's easy, you can try bending the knee and kicking up. I'm sure there's many more things you can do from there, but that's all I know. So we'll go to that point, unless you want to do something else on your own. Now, wherever you are, find your soft Ujjayi breath. Be aware of the physical sensations. Be aware of the stories you're telling yourself. Oh, last time I did this, I fell and I was embarrassed and blah, blah, blah. I know, me too. We'll take one more breath wherever you are. Unfurling, keeping the right leg long just to come back up. Draw the knees parallel to each other, next to each other. Inhale for cat-cow. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. And take one more. Big inhale. And big exhale. From here, walk your arms forward, trying to find puppy dog pose. So for some of us, maybe we stop right there and find a nice hinge. You can always take the elbows out to the side and dip the chest down. Otherwise, we keep the hips where they are. So the hips are over the knees. And we start to reach the chin and chest towards the floor. Still in a place where we can breathe. Nice, long, deep Ujjayi breaths. Take one more. Move yourself back to a neutral position. Tuck the toes and lift up for downward facing dog. From down dog, we drop back down onto all fours, but we hover the knees here. So we're lifting an inch off the earth. Inhale, expand your heart. Keeping the knees hovering, exhale and contract. And we'll do that 2 more times. Hovering, inhale, expand. Still hovering, exhale, contract. And one more. Inhale, expand. Exhale, contract. And from here, lift up, rounded downward facing dog, high on the toes. And then release into regular down dog. Stretch it out. Bend your knees, look forward, step or hop to the front. Come up halfway. Exhale, release, forward fold. Inhale, come to standing, take your arms with you, and let's add a back bend. So once we get up there, maybe stay exactly as you are, push the hips forward, or take hands to the hips. Either way, we still push the hips forward, allowing the weight to be in the heels, pull the belly in, but still push it forward. Another half a breath, and then come on back up. Releasing the arms if you have them at your hips. Inhale, lift up. Strong belly, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or hop it back straight through chaturanga or hang out in plank pose. Lifting your beautiful heart as you breathe in. So take in the air and then let it go. Downward facing dog. Excuse me. Back to Ujjayi breathing. In and out. In and out. Left leg lifts. Stack the hips. Bend the knee. Lift head looking over right shoulder. Decide what you want to do. Maybe even this is too much right now. If that's the case, come out of it. Otherwise, flipping or side planking. Paying attention to shoulders here in case that's too much weight to bear right now. Come on back. Left leg stays lifted. We send it underneath our body all the way to the right, and then make sure the right toes pivot with you. If all is well, right arm lifts. And if everything's still good, we do our 3 taps. 1, 2, and 3. Beautiful. Now make sure the right toes point open even more as we slide the left leg. Right leg stays bent and come up to a seated position. Pull the toes back, arms in front. Now push the right knee open. So that right knee wants to come in. Push it open. We lean to the right, but we twist to the left. So this takes a lot of muscular energy, especially on that left side, to keep the shape. Pull the belly in. Find softness in your breath. Watch the right knee. Now if you want the bind here, thumbs flip down. Find that internal rotation. Roll around. This time right hand grabs the left. Work into this twist to the left, watching the shoulders that they don't collapse inward. And then release the pose. And then we twist right back to where we were. So hands come back to the floor, pivot around, left knee to nose, forward in plank. Exhale, one-legged dog. Left knee to nose, forward in plank, tuck and round. Exhale, one-legged dog. Now this time, we hover and hold. Left knee forward. Really pull the belly in. You want to find a sense of expansion on the back side. Now plant the foot. Low lunge position. Create whatever space you like there. Inhale to lift up. Flip the palms behind you. Now get yourself established on this side. We want to pull that left hip crease back. And instead of thinking of resting so much in the right hip, lift up. Another breath like this. And we start our little cactus flow. Arms come to cactus, wide fingertips. Inhale, expand. Exhale, float left arm on top. 2 more times. Inhale, broaden out. Exhale, left arm floats. And then 1 more big expansion. Left arm floats and we stay there. Maybe double crossing, maybe not. Doesn't matter. Snuggle left shoulder down. Now again, come into this place where you can pull the left hip crease back and lift the right hip up so we maintain a nice stable sacrum. Thumbs to the forehead. Now think if you can lift a little bit, and that just shows that we're ready to transcend this idea of happiness being the place where we get our wants and our likes, and moving into this place where we know that true sustainable happiness comes from finding benevolent responses in everything we do. So lift up, open up to that idea, and then come back to center, and we'll prayer twist left with our eagle arms. Again, using viveka, which is keen discernment or discretion, decide if the discomfort that you're experiencing possibly is coming from the fact that normally we don't twist like this. If it doesn't feel good to the sense that you think it's hurting you, by all means, you want to come out of it. But otherwise, sit with it and see if you can feel the goodness in the shoulders. Now, come on back up. Extend left leg and try hinging over the left leg. And if you get to a place where you can maintain the hips, where the left hip is pulling back, the right hip is lifted, it may feel good to come inside and bow down. And we won't stay super long here like this. We'll keep the shape, but release the arms. Then extend over left leg. Beautiful way to stretch. You might want to just hang out here, or maybe you want to go a little bit deeper. Again, both sides will not be the same. So you have to use your discerning breath, all that innate knowledge, let it come into play now by clearing the field around the mind, by taking off the colored lenses so that you can see what actually is what it is. So taking another breath. Tippy toe the left foot back in, so we're in that low lunge position. But this time, let it be a tiny bit narrow because we'll be doing our floating lunges. Lift up, coming all the way up, cactus arms, hovering the knee. Inhale, expand, dropping to right knee. Exhale, left arm floats. Inhale, open. Exhale, lift up, left arm floats. And then one more. Inhale, expand. Exhale, left arm floats. And then this time we stay here finding eagle arms. It could just be right here. It could be the double cross. Either way, snuggling down that left shoulder. Sink down, find a sense of heaviness. And then come to straight legs. So again, it can be either on the ball of the right foot, or maybe you're already finding your warrior pose, which we'll need for the next part. Wherever you are, inhale, lift. Exhale, hinge. Again, on this side, if it feels good, you might come inside the left leg a little bit. But finding a place to breathe and work. Breathe and work. And sometimes the work is not going deeper. The opposite though, backing out. Finding what's safe and sustainable for this body so that we can be of good service. If we're injured, we have to work a little harder to be of service, and that makes us less able to work. Taking one more breath like that. Now, as you come up, keeping the eagle arms if you can, we move into our warrior one legs. We want to try to find a place where we can dip the left thigh towards parallel to the floor. It doesn't have to be there today. Sinking down. Another big breath, and we're almost out of these arms, so stick with it. We add the right leg for eagle legs, so circle it around, and maybe today you're sitting here, resting the toes, and just finding a squat. Maybe you're floating, or maybe you're double wrapping. It doesn't matter. Just find something that works in your body right now, evening the hips out. Another big breath. Here we go, last one. Right knee to nose. Extend the leg long, internal rotation in that thigh. Are you ready? Release the arms. Open up, let them fly. So beautiful. Getting prepared for half moon. If you need your block on the left side, it's in your left hand. Unfurl your arms, so we already unfurled our arms. Tilt left arm down to the floor, and then find that stacking place. Right hip lifts, right shoulder lifts. Perfect place to hang out. If you're practicing bent knee, Chandra Chapa, bend the knee, and then give yourself this beautiful kick. So we get to stretch even more. Last breath like that. Belly strong. If you had bent leg, let it go. Just tilt back, coming up straight legs, just like a triangle over the left leg, but we're going reverse. So we reach right arm down. Stretch it all the way down the leg. That entire left side feeling really nice and open. Now if you're moving into strengthening pose, take the right arm up, but we keep that shape. All right, lift back up. So here's where we go into that funky, what I call bowing warrior. I really don't know what it's called. But we take the right toes, pivot them open to the right, bend the right knee. So we have this sense of the knee and the toes being in one line. All right, the left leg stays straight and still pointing the toes forward. Reach the left arm down, check into that knee. It wants to come in. Your job is to make sure it stays out. Open up. Again, we're leaning left, but we're twisting right. Finding softness in the breath. So a tremendous stretch for that left inner thigh. It's so good for us. Now if you like the bind here, right hand comes behind, left hand through the legs. Still think of twisting right. You can lean left, but we're twisting right. All right, here we just release. Toes pivot forward as we come into that preparation for our thread the needle. Walk yourself forward, wide-legged plank pose, and this time it's left leg. Left leg shoots under, arm lifts, come back, push up. And we'll do it 3 more times. Left leg under, maybe arm lifts, come back, push up. Again, left leg, push up, once more. Left leg, maybe arm, and push up. This time, walk yourself back. And from here, we'll go into a little bit of playtime. So we'll lift up and find fingertips looking forward, walking your hands through as if you were going to come into a little headstand. And if you do practice tripod headstand, we'll move into it today. If you normally don't practice tripod headstand, just not the time to do it without a teacher with you. But I can offer you a nice preparation, which in some regards is a little more muscularly challenging than the pure tripod headstand. You guys who are doing the tripod headstand, be mindful. We don't want to mash our heads. We're always trying to use the arms to help lift us up a little bit. And that's what this exercise is all about. So if you want to join me, and if you're not joining me in this, just find something to play with, like Bakasana. We didn't do any of those balancing poses, or Malasana, anything to play with. So here's the tripod headstand prep, and I know most of us have done it, so I'll go rather quickly. Knees to the elbows, and we lower down so that the head is at the apex of the triangle, and we're on the crown of the head. Now I'm pushing down, certainly, but I'm having a lot of weight in my hands so that I can just tilt back up. And so the idea is to have a controlled sense of seesawing, back and forth. So toes to head, toes to head. Don't go super fast, because even though we're only an inch or 2 off the floor, you still don't want to mash your head, particularly if it's not exactly facing down to the ground. If you're at an angle, you can have a little pressure cocking the neck, and we don't want that. Maybe once you get there, you feel good just leaving your knees on top of your elbows, and that would be your practice for tripod headstand. If you think about it, this is actually Bakasana. So when you come up, you're actually in Bakasana. And take another couple breaths wherever you are. Let's all meet back up in the wide legs, and we'll take the next stretch. Interlacing fingers around the neck, close the elbow doors. Make sure the crown of the head is coming towards the floor, and then pull a little bit. So you get a sense of traction, if you will. And it feels really good to release any kind of compression that may have occurred in the cervical spine. Take another breath. And then release, coming up halfway. Again, we're all meeting down on the floor in the wide legs. So if you practice Sama Konasana, you just keep tiptoeing, keeping the pinky sides of the feet down on the floor. Otherwise, you just come to seated and find your best seat, taking in mind about the sacrum if you need to lift or maybe bend the knees. All right? So everything that works in your body is a good thing. So what might be a good stretch for me wouldn't be for you. So we go into our own body. That's the beautiful thing about the yoga asana. Big inhale to lift. Exhale, working in a resistance factor. And some of you may want to take the stabilizing forward fold, which is where we bend the knees, and lift up. So maybe it's less of a forward fold. You can try to make it more, by pulling the legs up higher, flattening the back. But we get to work on our stabilizer muscles. If you're doing this one, be mindful you're not rolling onto the sacrum. We're still trying to find that special place right at the edge of the sitting bones, and that may require testing it and falling forward a few times. So play with it. It's going to be fun to see how we've all progressed when we come back into in-person classes, because I think being at home, we get to let go of our ego more and play with falling, stuff like that. Either way, I can't wait to see you guys in person. Last breath, if your legs are up, it's a silent landing, so pull the feet back. Nice, quiet landing in our forward fold, and we all come back up. Let's take a twist over, or a stretch over the left leg. It's actually a twist to the right. Again, if you need the block, that's a wonderful place to rest the forearm, because you can still push in to find that twist to the right. Otherwise, hand to the floor, reaching the right arm ultimately over the right ear. But remember, this is a twist to the right. Try to avoid letting the right hip lift. It naturally wants to come up the deeper you go. So that's where Vairagya comes in. We have to say to ourselves, I'm going to let go of the picture that I think this pose should look like on me, and I'm going to do what's right for my body. In this case, if the right hip is lifting, that means backing out a little bit in the depth and twisting so that the right hip stays on the floor. Now let's go ahead and take the right leg up for the Marichyasana one. So this one, again, if it doesn't feel good, a lot of people can't take this shape, you'll just do the Janu Sirsasana one twice. But in this one, let the right hip lift. So this one, the spine moves in one line instead of up and over like an L shape. So we lift up, come inside again, can be with block, it doesn't matter. And then we're still twisting to the right. The beauty of this one is it offers you a little more movement in the spine. You could actually think of dropping the left shoulder to the floor and allowing the right hip to come up. All good. Big inhales, big exhales. All right, now we come back up and we'll practice the one more in Janu Sirsasana. Same thing, reaching arm in, maybe elbow, big twist open to the right. Working with each discerning breath, guiding us into a place of going deeper, backing it out, or staying the same. And hopefully when we leave class, we're so used to doing that we'll do that in our activities outside of the classroom, before we speak, before we act, even before we think. All right, make your way back up. So as long as we're all on the same page here, which is left leg extended, right leg in kneeling, we simply keep the right leg in kneeling as we come into this extended left leg position. And from here, we'll work on our 3 chin push-ups. Squeeze the elbows in, lower chin and chest, and lift back up. 2 more times. Squeeze elbows in, lower chin and chest, the leg naturally lifts. And then 1 more time. Take it down and lift back up, keeping the leg extended. Taking right arm long, needle through. Find the place that's best for you. If you're not going very far and you want to just rest on the block, you'll look like this. If you want to come down to the floor, but not really work too much on the balance, extend your right shoulder as long as you like. But if you're going to start to play with the balancing, I mean, unless you've done it that way before with a big twist, I find that we have to back out the twist a little bit for a more neutral spine. Play with it yourself and see what comes up. Maybe you play with lifting left leg, maybe left arm. And if it's easy, eventually you come into this grabbing the foot and kicking position. All right, but we'll move nice and slowly and mindfully. So extending left leg, lift it up, play with the hand movement. Sometimes you can slide the hand forward and back or up and down, and that gives you a better lay on the shoulder. So play with that. Then maybe the left arm comes up. And if you're thinking this is just way too easy, try bending the knee, taking hold of the foot, and see how that feels. And then give yourself a big kick. And anything else you've got, when we're back in person, show it to me so I can teach it later. Taking another breath. Now we come back to the floor, unfurl ourselves, Let's go ahead and draw both feet together. Little cat-cows. Inhale, exhale, contract. Inhale, broaden. Exhale, round. And one more, really open up and expand, filling up with goodness, love, benevolence. Exhale, contract. Make that a permanent part of you. And then come to your neutral spine, and we'll walk into that half dog pose. So we extend the arms long already. Here I can say, oh, is that okay for me? And if it's not, take your hands out, big tented fingertips, and just dip the chest down. Otherwise, arms are extended. Hips stay as best over the knees as they can as you work into expanding the front side of your body. Walk yourself back up. If you have another vinyasa in you and you feel like doing it, let's go ahead and do the vinyasa as we make our way down to the floor. Extended legs. Once you're there, pull pinky toes back, lift the kneecaps, roll the shoulders up and back. Big lift here. Inhale. As you exhale, hinge forward, peace fingers to the big toes. This is a really beautiful way to start the floor process of evening out the spine. Playing with the shape. Maybe your hands are at your knees today. Lift up. And again, another nice way to stretch the spine in the opposite direction for Purvottanasana. Staying like this, point the toes, and just lift up if that's all good. If it's not, bend the knees and lift up. You're still getting that front side stretch, and that's what we're looking for. All right, come on back down. Maybe give your wrists a little bit of love. We'll cross the right knee and take a twist to the right. So we didn't get to do much in the sense of balancing poses today. In this twist, I'm going to offer to stay here. Try to keep working, the hip stays on the floor, and you just keep twisting. If you'd like to take this into a balancing pose, from here, you can just keep your twist and lift up into resting on the left arm, split legs if you like, or something else. Otherwise, as I said before, we just stay where we are. Balancers, working with breath. It's easier to work with breath in these still places. The challenge is when you're balancing or working something harder. All right, let's let that go. Cross right knee. We'll just take one little stretch into that right hip. Big inhale to lift up. Exhale, slide the hands and come forward. If you can, you rest the chin right on top of the knee. And if not, that's fine. Just move into something that feels good. Maybe here. And as you go inside, try to locate that place of the hindrances. This is doubt, anxiety, restlessness, sleepiness, anger. And see if you can become committing to eliminating them, pushing them out of your field of benevolence. And if they aren't there, then just be committed to keeping them out. Now make your way back up when we come into a little boat pose. Lifting up. Softness in the breath, pulling the belly in. Come down, cross the ankles, lift anything you can off the floor. Second one, we lower a tiny bit, pulling the belly in. Working strong in that belly, combined with the breath. Come up, cross ankles, lift anything off the floor. And finally, we go into the pure abdominal boat pose, where we're super low, hip flexors are barely helping us, legs are a little bit off the floor, shoulders off. 2 more breaths. And then scoop it back up again, cross legs, lift whatever you can, but stay in these cross legs now. Walk your hands behind you, tented fingers as you turn the thumbs outside. Puff the chest up. If you can lift high enough in the shoulders, you can have our little hammock that you've created to rest your neck as you open up and stretch the whole front side. And then coming back to seated, extended legs, wide toes. Inhale, roll shoulders up and back. As you exhale, slide the hands on top of the legs. If they reach the tops of the feet, go ahead and pull the toes back and find your forward fold there. If they don't, just stop along the way. But then you'll have to work extra hard on pulling the toes back. Finding softness in your breath, breathing in, breathing out. One more. All right, make your way back up. Again, Purvottanasana or something like it. So maybe it's just the reverse table or legs straight, pointing toes. And if you're in the straight legs, the idea here is to lift the hips high enough that the big toe mound comes to the floor. All right, come on back down. Give your wrists a little bit of love. So maybe invert them. And then we cross left leg. Nice big stretch, opening up into the left hip. Working with breath. If you're ready for your balancing pose on this side, so technically it's the right arm that's going to support you, but those of you I've taught the cheat to plenty of times, you're welcome to. So basically we're just coming into this place where we lean into the right arm, but if you want, you can add the left arm by dropping it into your left hip and lifting up. Play with what's best, working with the breath. Come back to that half Gomukhasana. Lift up, roll the shoulders back. Exhale, hinge forward, finding a place to rest. Dropping the chin onto the left knee if that happens, and if not, that's fine. Just let it be wherever it is. You drop it down. And going inside again and being aware of the colored glasses we wear. So some days are just angry days for whatever reason. Some days are sad days for whatever reason. Sometimes the rain makes me sad. But sometimes being aware of the why and how we can stop that helps us. So creating these stories, we're not creating them. They're stories that have happened, but being aware of their creation may help you to back off. May help you to change the story. So you can switch the lenses. All right, let's come on up, make your way up. And from here we move into a bridge pose. So lying down, walking the heels close to the hips, flipping the palms down. Let's just start with bridge flow first. So we inhale, tuck the pelvis, roll up, hips come high, keeping that pelvis nice and strong, lowering down, and at the very last second, release the pelvis. And we'll do that 2 more times. Tuck the pelvis so you can feel the spine rolling onto the floor as you lift up. We're going to keep that opposite as we roll down. Untuck the pelvis at the very last moment. And then 1 more time. Tuck, lift, roll down, and untuck. All right, from here, if you have a block and you'd like to move into bridge pose with your block, go ahead and grab it. The block would sit underneath the sacrum. You can pick which side you want and just match it to the sacrum.